As you heard President Biden address the nation today, giving more insight as to why things went the way they did in Afghanistan. The 20-year war is over, but it's clear there's a long road ahead with a whole new set of challenges. Let's bring in our guest tonight. We know him as a mental toughness expert. He's also a veteran of the Marine Corps, Eric Rittmeyer, up late with me on the Final Five. Eric, it's always good to see you. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances tonight.
Yeah, a little different than I'm used to, Jim. I'm normally doing push-ups and telling jokes with you, but there are no jokes to be told tonight, unfortunately.
Talk to me about what you, as a Marine veteran, what went through your mind as you saw what unfolded over the last week?
There aren't words to explain. In the Marine Corps, we call this a Charlie Foxtrot. What just an absolute embarrassment. I mean, number one, any military, you don't have to serve in the military to recognize no one ever gets left behind. That's not just a Marine Corps thing, that's a military thing. Nobody gets left behind. There's no military strategy that involves military people leaving before civilians. There's no military strategy that leaves behind billions of dollars of equipment, of intelligence, people that helped us, people that were there for us, that were interpreters for us, to leave them behind, leave citizens behind. What an absolute embarrassment, all to make a political statement, to be able to stand on stage and say, I ended the war on September 11th, on the 20th anniversary. People died because of that, unfortunately.
We know that there was this exit date in mind for some time. The wheels first turned in motion under former President Trump, and then obviously President Biden continued through and worked us on this path to the withdrawal. And obviously, when they write the history books, Eric, you know that there is going to be, and rightfully so, second guessing, wondering who made what calls and why they went this direction. So in your estimation, you know, what could have changed? What could have made this operation somehow less acrimonious, less deadly?
Well, I think the biggest misconception here, Jim, I keep hearing this, and everybody's saying, you know, well, the prior administration put this into motion. Yes, they did. Yes, they set a date of withdrawal for May 1st, but it was conditions-based withdrawal. If there were certain things that weren't met, we weren't leaving. So the minute these things were broken, it would have been shut down. To set a hard date and then to leave our troops to be surrounded by people that want to kill us, to put them in charge, to put the security of our service members in the hands of the same people that we were hunting down and bombing just a couple months prior is absolutely unacceptable. This is just an absolute disgrace. We've lost the respect. We've lost the trust of every ally we ever had. This is going to go down as one of the biggest blunders in history. And again, 13 U.S. service members died. They should not have died. They did not have to die.
So we're at this point now. As said, and you pointed out, the president got up today and said, look, the war in Afghanistan is over. Do you believe, should we have gotten out, or should this process have started sooner? You know, did this have to take 20 years to get out of Afghanistan?
A couple other things people have to recognize, Jim. When we sign up, when we raise that right hand, we raise that right hand to defend this nation, whether it's on our own soil or on foreign soil. So I agree, we don't want any of our service members in harm's way. But you know what? That's what we sign up for. So if we're able to go to their land and stop them from coming here, for 18 months, we did not have a single combat casualty in Afghanistan. We had 2,500 troops on the ground. Nobody wants to have troops anywhere, but you know what? If we can keep 2,500 troops there, remain our presence, keep it under control, keep the intelligence coming, prevent another 9/11 from happening. I get so upset here and then talking about, well, the 80% of the nation wants our troops to come home. Well, yes, they do, because who wouldn't want their troops to come home?
Right.
But if you start helping them to understand what they're doing while they're there, what they're preventing from happening, I think the tone changes very quickly.
I want to ask you, though, because the book's behind you, we've talked about your book before, and we go back to that idea that you're a mental toughness expert. So, you know, to anybody who finds himself dealing with processing what we've seen unfold over the last week, what's your advice to those people, even if they have no connection whatsoever to the U.S. military, but obviously bound together by the fact we're Americans?
Yeah, great point, Jim. And here's the thing. These wars we've been in recently, especially this one for the last 20 years, I refer to this as a friends and family war. Unless you have a friend or a family member involved in this conflict, you didn't really care. And I hate to say it that way. Not that you didn't care, but you weren't glued to the television. You talk to the people that have loved ones there. They were 24/7 worried every time they saw anything on television, every time the phone rings, every time somebody knocks on their door. So I think what's most critical for veterans, especially anyone who served, anyone who gave limbs, anyone who gave their blood, their mental state to this war, what they have to recognize is that for 20 years, we prevented another 9/11 from happening. So this is not a loss. We're not leaving this. We're not, as veterans, we didn't fail the mission. We stopped another terror attack for 20 years. Moving forward, the U.S., the rest of the world is much, much unsafer because of what we just did.
You're not the first person to tell me that on this show. And Eric, when you mentioned the friends and family aspect, you know, I think back, I was 22 on September 11th, and you're right. I had friends who served in the military. Some of them came back with Purple Hearts. It really puts things in perspective when you see it hit home like that. But I'm glad you're here tonight to give your perspective. Eric Rittmeyer, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I think it's very important to say from the grandson of a Marine, thank you for your service.
Jim, you're the man. Thank you for that, sir. And everybody who served, thank you, guys. We love you. We got your support. Thank you for having me, Jim. You're the man.
I appreciate it, Eric. Thank you. And the Final Five comes back after this.
Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls